It's a brand new day, and we'll be making history. Are you with me? Won't you stay? We have come so far. This is who we are. And like the rising sun, we have just begun to play our part. This is the time we form the chorus. Lift your voice for those before us. We can rely on one another. Feel the pride, let's show our colors. We are heroes and dreamers. We are.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is, wherever you are. This is Gail of Gaia, and this is Free Range, where we graze on wild ideas, and we have wonderful guests. And we have a fun guest that we like to have frequently, Jenny Lee. And she said that we're going to talk about things that you may want to have a puke bucket for. So, and I know what we're talking about because we talked about it a little earlier. So let me bring her on.
Hey.
Hi. Well, we should have a fun evening tonight. Happy to have you on to talk about what we need to talk about because it involves the children.
Yes, it does. And every part of this involves the children. And I think those are subjects that just get missed or jumped because no one wants to bring it up or talk about it. And, I'm dealing with that stuff still currently. And one of the huge case that I am going to be like, oh boy, getting involved with is right in the pit of it all. So, it's one of those things is someone's got to do it. Someone's got to figure things out and get things moved on. But yeah, I mean, I still can't believe we're at this point that they're still trying to not give details and secure it down and how, I think today, because I think what Trump was pointing out to a lot of things with the Democrats the other night, and now they're in defense mode because now they have to protect themselves from being prosecuted anymore, which it's going to happen anyway. But these program people are out there just trying to do whatever they can to dishonor the information of truth. It's the narrative a little bit that's still there.
Wow. Well, the things that we want to talk about that you need a puke bucket for are things that are very difficult for people to swallow, shall we say.
Yeah. That's why I throw it up.
Exactly.
Or backwashes, it comes back up. I'll be fine.
But the very idea of it, I mean, we gotta, here, I'm trying to welcome everybody in the chat.
Yeah, that's fine.
We got a little bit of a taste of it. Remember when they said that on the dark web that people watched Hillary and Huma do some horrific things to a child, and these were seasoned detectives, police, and so on. That they're pretty seasoned. They've seen a lot in their lifetime because who goes to the accidents, who does police, so on. So if that's enough to make them throw up, you can imagine how bad it really is. And apparently that's what they do on a regular basis. And what is it? We have 11 million children go missing every year.
Yeah. And I don't think the military, they had training to a certain degree, but this is why it's so sick and horrendous, is the fact that you have to look at the fact that the details of it are hard. And so the soul is not used to taking that on, taking that much pain, taking that much suffering from something that is so innocent. And then you have to reside of feeling emotional about it, but then also very angry. So though that emotion really confuses a human because they don't expect to see that. Evil reside within their own species, and they're doing it. Um, and that's the hard thing about it. But again, you have the people that just don't want to talk about it. We don't want to bring it up. And I actually, besides, you and I talked to another truther today that, these are subjects we need to go into more of. And it's still, everybody avoids it. And I noticed, and I've just been paying attention. They're just avoiding the subject. We're not talking about it to a certain degree. And
Maybe they're
so the thing
NPCs.
is, could be. I mean, I think there's a lot out there. And like I said, they're looking around
There are.
going, oh, I don't think so. I don't think so. So that's the problem is when you sit back and rationalize what you're seeing every day and everybody else, and I'm talking about it gets thrown on media, but then it gets dismissed just as fast. And because they don't want to look deeper than the surface that they already see. Because they're, why? And I'll tell you why. It makes people feel guilty. Because if they look at something like that, it might make them feel like a human. It might make them feel like they haven't done anything and they're just ignoring it. And they want to go about their life in the reality that they created it in. They don't want to deal with the truth of what happened, because then that would make them a bad person of recognizing it. And that's the thing. Humans are the worst. I mean, look how they treat their elders. Look how they treat, and I'm just saying this in a way, and how they're starting to treat babies and just, to throw it away. Those type of humans, they shouldn't be on this plane. They don't care, honestly. So,
No.
and then, like I said on Facebook today, they were, smacking Trump down, and I go, and I hate the truth. You're going to need a puke bucket, and then you're gonna need a soul, which they don't have. That's the problem. That compassion, empathy, sympathy has to do residing with the soul, and it makes you understand that people have less and less, and I don't know if it's just completely severed or they're gone, but they're not here. They're not present.
That's where the concept of the NPC comes in, and apparently there are millions of them. Millions. I saw a figure of 5,000 to 1. So you wonder why some people aren't waking up. That's why.
Yeah.
They're not a real true human.
Yeah. And that's why they showed me that narrative of being in New York and they're just malfunctioning, and then you got some of these compassionate humans and they're trying to get them to wake up or move. And it's like, that's not a real human. Like I said, these organic system, AI systems, there's many forms of them. But
yeah, we have synthetics, we have androids, we have clones, we have and they've done this with the resets, I believe, which they were trying to carry off right now.
Yeah.
Now it's my understanding too that there's only approximately, and this is hard to believe, I got this from Christian 21, 100 million humans, but 200 million starseeds came in to save 100 million people, but most of the starseeds didn't wake up.
Well, they didn't wake up. That's not what Spirit said. We sent many, but many did not make it. They didn't make it because they had to choose why they were here. They had to choose, am I going to walk in the flesh and be bought off and do that? Or am I going to be here and serve the path of humanity and the light? And they said, we sent many, but not all made it. And that's the way you got to look at it.
The brainwashing and the poisoning and the lies certainly didn't help much. Apparently, that was enough to keep many people asleep.
Right.
And we're not talking about the ones that are non-humans, because those are a whole nother ball game.
Right.
Um,
Exactly.
hmm.
So the whole process of this, situation with this is, what's the level that the human wants to go down to the truth? They don't want to go down that far in the truth. That's why. That's too much truth for them. And the ones that are awake, they pretty much know. They'll watch this stuff. They'll pay attention. They'll know what's going on. But there's a level that these others are like, I'm not going to look at that, because I can decide what is my reality and what is not. And if I don't make it a reality, I don't have to feel guilty about it. I don't have to feel compassion about it. I can just ignore it. So we're not in the same heart of a human anymore, because that's what we're lacking. They're lacking that. And you're already seeing in society, when an incident happens with a woman on the street or anything like that, they don't do anything anymore. They just walk by.
Yeah, they
That's
don't even try to
programming.
help. Yeah, it's amazing to me.
That's the programming that is going on right now. It's huge. So that, and that's the most upsetting thing, is this is supposed to be about humanity, and we have to get back to that heartfelt situation of doing things compassionately in that process. And that's the problem, is when you put such a graphic reality of truth, and even if they hear the child's voice in the information, they even get irritated like a demon, because you're presenting it to them. They don't even react with a child in the suffering pain. They react like a demon because you're annoying them by showing them this. That's what drives me nuts.
That's you wonder, what are you dealing with? A non-human, an NPC, someone that doesn't have the capacity to love, which is what's necessary. One of the Wolf Mother says, so many people are asleep. I spoke of chemtrails, and a friend says, what chemtrails? I almost fell off my chair. I know. It is
Telling you.
amazing. How can you miss that? How can you
I'm
not
starting to
see
wonder
that?
at night if they're reprogramming them at night to reinstate them in that denial state capability. They're just, I don't know if they're getting reprogrammed at night and they come back every day worse in the situation of less denial about everything. And that's why I said I think the worst part about this is when this goes down, the military is going to have to deal with them and how they have to take them down.
Yeah. Well, I think that if they are not human and we have that electromagnetic pulse, if that happens, they will cease to exist. But which could be very traumatic in and of itself when you think of the sheer numbers of them. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah. I mean, and that's the thing. I mean, it's and I don't know, and this is the thing too. Uh, the society teaches it, to deny it and don't act like it exists. You're part of it or existing, and this is what the Hollywood did. They act like they're not a part of it, didn't have anything to do with it, and you're seeing society come up to another cover of that, and it makes you understand a level. The police departments and the bad police departments, the Masons, the cabal, all of them, just hiding in a different way of who they are, of they don't have desire for that. I mean, and I hear that that's worse than alcoholism, of how they look at it and what they do to these kids in the way that they do it. And yeah, I wish Trump was sitting there that night and saying, "You're drinking blood, and you're drinking blood, and you're drinking blood, and you're drinking blood," because they couldn't say anything. You know what I'm saying? Y'all
Yeah,
drinking
really.
blood.
He has said quite a bit. I mean,
Right. He
he's
did good.
as
But
uh,
yeah, that
yeah.
was another level that needed to come out.
Well, there was one thing that I wasn't happy about, and that was giving the police a license to kill, um, which they already have, but even more immunity to it. In that, if you should happen to kill a police officer, you have an automatic death penalty. I don't know that I think that's right, but that's just me. Um,
Well, I'm sure there's a filter between the good cop and the bad cop, and they haven't even started that yet. So they know that's there.
Maybe that'll bring the bad cops out even more if you think about it. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, well, they need to
Yeah.
filter that system, and they know it too. So there's
Yeah.
there's that to do too, on top of everything else.
This is something that I run into a lot. What Maria is saying here, the media is the same, no truth. I live with a 3D person and he watches the news all the time, and I cannot say anything about what is going on because he says I'm crazy. That is
The program.
typical.
It's the program at night. They go to bed. They say, if they say this in the morning, we're programming you to say you're crazy. I'm saying it's such vague, stupid words they're using. Low-minded. So yeah, I mean it's insane
It
what's
is
going
sad. I
on.
mean, people do have a lot to overcome. I mean, between the brainwashing and the poisoning and the disconnect and the frequency fence, I think that's been removed. But how can you, if they calcify your pineal gland, which was what they set out to do with the fluoridation of water, it makes it very hard for people to have intuition and to know these things that
I don't know
and their
because I
connection
mean
their connection to
I, don't-
source.
I guess I don't think that's the case for the 144, and then because it's just installed in us in a different way. But on the ones that are just took everything that they were programmed to take, yeah, it's dumbing them down and just making them more of a robot themselves, you know.
Oh yeah, yeah,
And
I
that's
get
why,
that.
you know, Spirit says just let it go. Don't argue with them anymore. It's that they've already made their choice. They've already chose the dark, and they're not wanting to serve the light in any way. I mean, I want you to look at this. These are not people you want your kids around at all. And I'm not even just talking with the trafficking in any type of situation. They would not react in a normal human way to save a child in any way. So you don't
Ooh,
want your kids
wow.
around them at all because they're if they can't react in a compassionate way about this and want to get involved or want to talk about it or shut it down, that tells you what they would do if they saw an incident in front of them too. They're not going to react. These are
Hmm.
people some that you need to keep away your kids away from. Because you can't trust if you can't trust them doing something at that point. Don't expect them to do anything else that's compassionately. I'm just telling you.
Yeah.
And that's why a lot of us are avoiding being around them. We're not communicating. We're just like, nope, go away. And that's where I have this drawing I did of 5D people going in a direction and 3D going into this red dark, uh, and following that. And they have no problem following that darkness. It's not a big deal for them. So we're not looking at this as a predator or an animal. A dog would have more reaction for a kid getting hurt or something like that, or have its instinct versus some of these humans that are not doing it. I'm just telling you,
Mm.
you have to look at it that level because that's where we're at. You want to know why you're in shock? Why Washington sat there? and that kid that had cancer and they didn't react, because that's the programming. That's the first hand you're seeing. There's no heart there. There's no
Yeah.
soul there. There's no
Good
compassion.
point.
No
That's a,
empathy. And
that's a good
you're all
point.
like, what's going
Yeah.
on? And like, there's nothing there. Their soul made a contract with the cabal. Guarantee you it's gone. It's sold. There's nothing there. They're just vessels of darkness. And everybody wants them to react in a human way. It's not there.
It's sure
It's not
not. Boy,
there at all.
that was a good point right there, because uh, I was wondering at the time, it wasn't even dawning on me about the NPCs and the fact I thought they were just being their typical democratic selves and just trying to put everything down that might mean anything.
A kid could have
It
got
was
shot in
amazing.
a White House and they would have done nothing.
Yeah.
And
Just like they
these are the
were,
councils, these are the people they chose to think that they're going to save them and help them with stuff. No, not at all. Not in any way.
yeah.
'Cause you
Well,
might
they
as
are
well fill the
psychopaths.
room with demons. You might as well call them the demon Democrats.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely democrats. um, it's just amazing how disgusting it really is, and
That's what I'm saying.
how
And people can't get around, that they're not reacting in a human way. The people are just like, how are they not reacting? How are they not feeling compassion for any of those families if they didn't do nothing? It wasn't just that boy, or that young man. It was many of them. So
yeah,
in
there
their
was other ones
stories,
there.
there was nothing. That's what I'm saying. Stop looking at them and thinking they're going to have a heart. They don't
They
have
don't.
one. They made a contract with the evil side. And evil said, you know what? Now we're taking the soul, and now you're just here with a vessel. That's what's left. Just a vessel.
Yes, it's absolutely amazing is what it is. um,
I mean,
have
and
you
that's the thing. They can change the character of how they look. It doesn't matter. They've thrown everything at you. But the whole process is it's a useless vessel. There's nothing there. It's hollow. That's why there is no, pride, or, it's all about the completion of the agenda.
yeah,
It's either, and they've said, they don't want the light to win. So the whole problem if you looked at that as light and dark in that process the other night, the light was challenging the dark and notifying the dark of what they did. You know what I'm saying? I'm just
hmm,
telling you. And the dark acted like the same way it would. It's not our fault. We're not blamed. Nope, we're not doing it. We're not guilty. I'm just telling you.
look what they did to the J6ers, left them sitting in prison for years over bullshit. You know,
Demons,
demons, definitely.
Democrat
No
demons.
compassion, no
No,
compassion for those
not
people.
there. It's not there. And so, and I would say to people, which I don't think we're going into ever voting again, but I would say to people, if you can't put your kid in front of one of them, then you're making the wrong choice already, because you can't trust them. That's a program itself. So, and
They don't
that's
care.
no, they don't. So don't look at that as Congress the other night. You look at this as dark angels and light angels. And light angels were calling the dark out, and they weren't taking it. And so, doing a lot of distractions in there and doing whatever they can so the public doesn't have an opinion or even identify the demon behavior.
Okay, why don't you help people identify demon behavior? in this day and age. I think it's pretty
Day and
obvious
age.
in a lot of ways.
Okay, ego is the first thing, and this is and narcissism is another process in it. First of all, because you call them out and they go into defense mode on everything. There's no reasoning. There's no emotion to if you um, made someone feel bad. They don't, and the word sorry is not in their language concept. It is avoid, avoid, avoid. You know, put it on someone else. I mean, those are things too. So anything that keeps you from identifying what they really are, all those behaviors, it has to do with attitude, the blame game, ego, and consumption in energy and money, because that's what the program is. But the other thing too, the identification is the energy just consumes you. It takes you down. It makes you feel negative. It makes you feel sick. It makes you feel nauseated. All of that. I mean, your soul's not enlightened. It feels just sick being around them. Well, let me tell you, bad spirits, demonics, they don't smell good. You know, um, and I'm sure they weren't all smelling pretty up there. And I'm just telling you, because Pelosi looked like a rotting corpse. It was about ready to burst. I'm just saying, you know. So, I mean,
Well,
she looked like she was ready to slither out of there with her snake outfit. So I'm just saying, um,
is that the real her though anymore? Has she been
well,
taken out?
I think she was took out a long time ago, whoever they're trying to display
Yeah.
up there. But what I'm saying is, stop looking at these vessels as if they have compassion. They don't. It left the building a long time ago. And you can imagine being in the White House knowing that working across the hall from these, and these guys literally had to keep their shield up because every process is a game to get over, and the evil wants to win. It's the same thing. It's the same war. The light and the dark, we're in it. They want to know when they're here, they're already here because we're already fighting the battle. We're already fighting this biblical battle of the angels of the darkness and the angels of the light. It's in front of you. And the behavior is across the board like a demon. These people, if they saw a baby crawling into the street, they would not they would not do nothing. They wouldn't even stop the truck from hitting that child. I want you to understand that. That's the whole
Well,
thing about it.
that's how people in neighborhoods will have the police come and take out all the homeless, get them out of there
Right.
because they don't want to see that.
Right.
Do they do anything to help? Do they have any compassion for the fact? No, they've been programmed to believe that they're worthless. They don't want to work. They don't want to. They're not following the 3D program that they were supposed to. So that makes them no
Yeah,
good
but
and not worth
this is the
helping.
thing too, and I told you, Biden's the first arrest. And the thing is, the whole situation, he went down to the prisons in Mexico and wanted to bring them up here. I'm telling you, it doesn't get any eviler than that. They hate America. They hate freedom. They hate the whole process of something being free. And it's serve the master. Well, go back to the Catholic Church. There's your main master on this bullshit. I'm just saying, still need to get the cup out of the Vatican that they drink from. But I'm just saying, you got to look at the bigger picture of this. Stop looking at these beings like they're human and they have a heart. They don't. They don't care.
In fact, many of them have been involved in child sacrifice.
That's what they don't want you to expose. It's just the same thing as a demon. When you recognize what it is, if you identify it, it loses its power. Okay? So that's the whole thing about it. If you want to understand how the behavior is around them, demon Democrats, is the first thing they want to do is tap into your emotional side, get you to trigger on your emotional side, which is your, I call it your left brain, to get you to find a weakness within you. That's what they like to trigger. A lot is your weakness. So if you're in front of them or dealing with these people like that, you have to put on another face and you have to put your soul back and go, they're going to try to come at me with everything they can that is connected to me in an emotional way, because they are not connected emotionally in the heart.
They're
They have
not
nothing to
connected at
lose. They're
all, are
going
they?
to lose all the way. They're going to go back to where they came from, the deal that they made.
It's amazing that
Across the board.
they would make a deal like that, knowing that this is, a short lifetime, really, comparatively speaking, and you sell your soul.
They never thought they would lose.
And that would just keep it going and going and going, huh?
Yeah, it's just and that's where you look at what makes you content in life right now, what you need, all the flesh, uh, diamonds and pearls and big houses and all that's the stuff they used and it worked well with them. And now you have to pull back to another layer of what makes your soul content. If they can't bait you and fish you into those areas, it's not going to work. But that's what I'm saying is you have to ask yourself, what is the demon Democrats gave America in the last 10 years? Freaking nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
Crumbs.
The whole system is just I don't even like it. It's two wings of the same bird over and over again. I mean, right now it's the Democrats are bad and the Republicans are supposed to be good. But see that division? They're always dividing people, and that's not a good thing either, because there's a lot of Republicans that are just as guilty as the Democrats and
Yeah, and I
are as
think that
heartless as
veil
the Democrats.
I think those are veils that are already gone, or they're being displayed because he likes to
Hmm.
display when they're right by them. And he's done it in the past. So they'll be displayed in some way of showing a lesson. So yeah, it's on both sides, but it's sitting on the Democratic side and
Most
admitting and
heavily.
saying our master is not of the light, is of the dark, and we're putting his signature on our bridges in our school and everywhere, and we're going to make him look as sick and gross as we can, and completely confuse you so you don't breed anymore, you don't have kids anymore. It's just a massive confusion on purpose.
Yeah, well, this is we're in the time when they wanted to do another reset, um, and they've done it. What is this? About the seventh time, I think, or something like that. Um, it's a. I'd like to mention here, Jennifer said she came forward with offshore bank accounts, burial sites, because she survived elite trafficking and told Trump, and it's still covered up as of now. I'm sure it's being investigated. I would think. I hope. But
Well,
anyway.
they have everything. It's just the frustration of what are the layers, and that's where I think the citizens are going to have to step in when it comes down to a certain level.
I think that's true. And the postman here is saying on soul equals no compassion, empathy, or sorrow. Then you can be pretty sure they don't have a soul. If they have no compassion, they have no empathy, they're not sorry, they blame, others or what have you. Humans, real humans, have compassion and a lot of it.
Right.
Um,
I don't
really.
know. I mean, any type of suffering for any. I mean, I don't care if it's a dog. I can't take it. If it's a child, there's no way. I mean, there's no. They'll never sacrifice themselves for anybody else. I'm just telling you.
Exactly. Let's see. Hmm. Yeah, this is true. Psychopaths have no empathy.
No, you're better off standing by an animal because at least it has, it takes care of its
Dogs have
own.
unconditional love, 90%
Uh,
of them anyway.
that's what I'm saying. It's just, and it's just society needs to start looking at this in a way. You need to stop looking at them as they're going to be this compassionate humans. They're not. They've been throwing you under the bus. I mean,
In a
talk about
heartbeat.
humiliating. They're taking our money that we paid and
Yeah.
earned and putting it overseas so they could pay them to basically dismantle our country and take everything away from us. I mean, I'm surprised that people, who has not wanted to take it back to the whole situation, because in a normal old village that you would have this, they would have hung them by now.
I think that's why that's evidence of more NPCs than humans.
And this is the thing. When I stepped into being public about what I felt and because of my, my gift and all that stuff, I knew I was going to take this rough road. I wasn't going to take that kind, loving process of taking it light because people needed the truth. And I was seeing both sides of the fence on there and seeing the light through it. And they weren't playing that game from the beginning. And um, and that's the thing. These people that are compassionate and caring and have been in that back layer, and now they need to step in more, because this is where we have to go and step in, and lead a way out and get rid of the negative. And so this is where, if you're sitting on the fence, whether you should step in and compassionately say something, and especially when it comes to the children, this is the time to use your voice, this is the time to talk, this is the time to communicate, and not allowing your family to control you, not allowing, it doesn't matter about your bloodline of who you're connected to, who's your daughter, who's your mother. I'm just telling you, this is about humanity in this earth, and you got to step in and I'm telling you, the first time that you do that, you're going to feel so good in the soul, because that's what the soul's been telling you. Hold the line, step in the line, use the voice, and ditch the matrix programming.
Yes. You're giving me goosebumps. So, anyway, this hate for Trump is deranged, and even our kids, young people do it. It's a program, it's mind control. It's not normal at all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Have you ever seen them do that to anybody else? Never.
No. But it takes a strong person to stand in a room and stand up against it. When when I got into the metaphysical side, and I did some of these events and stuff like that, because I don't play ball. They, when I really came out with Trump, and I was the only person in the room, and like, it's Trump. Um, there's such a resistance, anger, mad, and like, you guys are supposed to be love and light people, and you're more upset than anybody. And then they were more upset that he won. You know what I'm saying? It's a narcissistic personality problem too,
Yeah.
because they never want to be wrong.
That's because crazy people don't know they're crazy. It's
Yeah, so it
and
gets to be a
NPCs don't know they're
scary.
NPCs either.
Yeah, it's a scary point that you're looking at on the whole situation. So, and that's why I just want people to start to looking at this in a different way. You know, you're in these somewhat of a biblical time between the light and the dark, and the earth changing and losing control, and the light's trying to get it back to the way it needs to be from it was before. And that's the whole process. It's going to take time to do this. I mean, these independent thinkers like uh, Elon Musk, he's one of them, and Trump and all that stuff. You have to understand, they're seeing the target in front of them, what they need to complete. They don't care where they are in the environment and how you're perceiving them. They just have a goal to get to, and I like Elon Musk, how he just does his own thing and his own sense of humor and his own personality, and he doesn't care what people think, because that is a very high-minded, independent, direct person that knows where he's going and is not afraid of any limitation at all. He's perfectly content in who he is, because he's figured out the whole damn matrix. Those people that are smiling like they figured it out. All they got to do is stay in the direction they need to go in.
Do you think he's an original?
Do I think it's the original? No. Do I think no. He's been replaced with a positive.
Okay. Here, someone's mentioned she was there on January 6th. And let me tell you, that evil was there that day, shooting tear gas at us.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just shameful that some people are still left in prison right now that were in the January. They all need to be let go.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they gotta get things done with the whole situation. So, I mean, and that's the point of it, is there, people wanting everything to be over, or the thing to flip like an access to an app. It doesn't work that way. You're not going to get out of feeling uncomfortable in the days to come, because you have to step in and you have to feel uncomfortable about the situation to get to a better situation. And that's what's happening, is they think they're going to hold on to 3D and stay in that content process. No, there's going to be a process that's going to be uncomfortable. It's coming. But your soul's making a choice.
Listen to that. This is interesting perspective here. Somebody says, QFA, it's challenging to watch real humans being controlled by the NPCs. Nice people are still controlled by narcissistic handlers.
Yes. Control is right. It is control. And so you have to completely back away from that and breathe in a clear air, or you're not going to be able to get away from it at all. So that the whole thing is the fact that everybody needs to look at this a different way. And I just tell, get behind a plated glass. Don't attach emotion to it, but you've got to look at a demon for what it is. Don't look at everything as a comparison to a human on the situation right now. And what the choices that they're making are not about saving us. It's about trying still to preserve the evil. And no.
Right. Here, Jennifer has another comment that I thought I'd put up there. My family is one of the named families involved. They murdered 6 of my siblings over this. These people have they kill their own family members and don't even have a conscience about it.
No. Demons. I'm going to tell you something. Angels, this is the thing about the light angels, a real angel. An angel, even though it may have to do something bad to take down an evil, but it always knows there's a love that they have to have for it. They're never able to completely be evil. Angels, even though they have a job to do, they still have compassion for the one they have to take down. The dark angels is completely about control and darkness. They don't have compassion for the light. They are mad that they are not in the light anymore. They are mad that they are limited to this earth. and they can't go anywhere. But they made that choice on their own at that time. And so it's a balance there, but there's an evil that is going to be chained down again for 1,000 years and cannot go. Why? And why would you think if the light wins, they're doomed in a different way?
I don't know that I agree with the 1,000 years only of peace, and I've like to, maybe it's just
well, I think
my,
they're going to be. I think there's going to be a war again, because I think we're going to go into it in 1,000 years, because it's just you can tie them down for a certain point. We still have to deal with it. So, and I just feel that spiritually, and I've seen some things, and I'm telling you, this whole thing has always been a biblical war. We're just on the planet that they're fighting over.
well, yeah, it's ETs that want to control humanity because or negative ETs, and then there are some that said, "Oh, there were no negative ETs." Baloney. We wouldn't be where we are right now if that was true, because there are very negative ETs that have manipulated us in many ways,
Right.
biologically, spiritually, psychologically, emotionally, you name it. They've done it to us, and that's why they poison us with it. I mean, I've read they even dip our clothes in poison. Like, that's why you should wash your clothes if you buy new clothes. I mean, it's, and then all the poison in the food, and all the poison it's in the air and in the water. It's just endless. It just shows how resilient we are, though. I will say that.
Well, yeah, but then again, it's demonic energy that they're doing. Everything, again, Bill Gates, another one. How could he do it? Yeah. Easily. And this is the thing that they've always showed me, and I want to remind people to keep an eye on Putin. Whatever vessel is in Putin, but keep an eye on Putin. Because they said, you need to look and pay attention to the eyes, because he's going to make a chess move that we're all going to remember in a positive way, not a negative way, in a positive way. So, and I'm going to tell you, that is not the original Putin, and you know it. So, and I feel that piece of that chest is coming in. But also that piece of the ley lines and the pyramids and all that was the power source of this earth, and how it rotated and how it moved before, is going to come back online in that process, and start to present that energy again. Seeing that different green, as I always see above the pyramids. So, I mean, we're in this activation mode of turning everything on that they hid from us in the ground a long time ago to chain us into the enslavement. And Spirit has showed gold chains. And they are not chains of shackles for us. They're chains of freedom. But the negative will be in shackles, in dark shackles. Now.
Teresa was mentioning that the Venezuelan president has proof that Biden admin paid them to send all their criminals. Yeah, I just heard that today too.
That's what I just said is, yeah.
Totally demonic.
Yes. And that's the thing, is they need to deal with that. And I said, Biden's the first one that's going to show you the arrest. And that needs to happen soon.
Well, I was going to say,
Cash,
it would be
get
nice.
on it. Get on it, Cash.
At least make the first one. That gives us a little faith.
Get on it.
Yeah. They're being bombarded. I mean, they're expected to do a whole lot in a very short period of time, but actually they have to, the way things are going.
Right.
Well, anyway. Oh boy. I'm just checking the. You can answer this. Can NPCs turn into a soul-filled human? No. Not possible. Yeah, here's the good way of putting it, Teresa. They are programmed, brainwashed, jabbed, cut off from source, and have no ability to reason and trying to hold on to a false reality, and they're losing it.
Correct.
Yep. Yeah, like the movie They Live. Yes. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Okay. Okay, here's a question for you from Mathis. When will this demonic level of corruption be exposed? Excuse me.
So I think
Jenny.
Trump was displaying that. He was showing you the display of that. I wished he would have said something about, I'm sure we have the wrong drink in the house for you guys, because we would all have to tap into our arm and put our arm out there for your own. I'm just saying he should have taken it to another level on the child trafficking process of, because he had the podium to do that, and but certain people write out their speeches and stuff like that. So I would say in parts of some of the speech they could have done better, but I don't think that's the end on the process of things. So there's layers of exposure, but you got to remember he's going to humiliate them in the way that they need to be humiliated, but they also need to be displayed in the public of what evil they are. So there's layers of that chess game that's being formed. He's got all the the chess pieces in place to where they need to be. They're all covered, and now the gatekeepers need to guard it. So basically, they're isolated, and they're able to take them down. That's the whole thing. That's what we're doing. You took down one of the biggest drug cartel people, which are very hard to reach and get into, and that's a big sign of a lot of good things. So, but the whole thing is the things to come that we're going to see with our eyes. You're going to have to sit back and swallow it and sit in your own energy with that and say, okay, this has happened. I got to take a breather and I got to stand back up because we've got to keep going on this process. And that's the whole situation there. I mean, I got to say, Generation X just I think God did really good on that generation, because they came in a wrecking bomb, and they're in the wrecking bomb in the White House, and they are wrecking. They're doing exactly what they were trained when they were young. They're making those type of choices. They're doing good. And I'm saying it's a generation as we're not going by the program no more. We're not falling in line no more. We're going to do it our way, and we're going to make sure things are done right.
Okay, let's bring back the facts. And maybe we need to talk about this a little more so we're real clear, and everybody's real clear how evil this really is. 11 million children go missing every year. Where do you think they go? They're not found. Most of them are never found.
Well, the biggest thing is having families that are not going out of their way to look for them, or they don't care. I mean, those children are the insignificant ones because they're not limelight. It's not in the limelight. They're not in the media. They want you not to pay attention because it goes down to poverty, and those families that don't have the money to look for them, I mean,
they do.
They have no resources, and they can't go to the cops, and they can't go to the church, and there's nowhere to go, so they feel helpless. And so
that's what
all this that happens with the kids it turns into one big pit. Selling the children over and over and over. You could sell a car, a couple times, but I mean, they're selling kids over and over. And those people that are purchasing these kids are the ones that, again, have no soul. That kid's crying in front of them and all that. It doesn't faze them. See, this is the thing what needs to change. People need to get to understand the evilness of it. They need to get in that layer of that evilness of understanding how bad it goes. They don't care.
Think about what's being done to children, and many of the politicians participate in it. They literally, I don't know if I can say it on here, but
yeah,
they literally remove their skin while they do other horrific things to them.
Silence of the Lamb. There you go. You seen the movie? Yes. And it's that kind of sick mentality and fantasizing but how do we get there into that point of that deep, going down that far, down that far of that sickness? Was suggested in the mind, those thoughts that come in and suggest, and then how these mothers sacrifice their own kid or kill their own kid or do the things that they do to their own kid. It's that evil thought that comes in first, and you allow it in, and you feed into the flesh. The flesh needs, it takes control. You choose yourself over your child. That's how it happened. And then they were waiting for that to happen. They were waiting for it to make them vulnerable. And then they could go in for the kill and take your children. CPS, holy shit. That's going to be a chest trove.
I think that is an organization that is owned by the Vatican and the Crown, CPS, and they are responsible for a lot of what's going on with the human trafficking, child trafficking, sex trafficking. The very idea of what they do to these children. I mean, let's face it. Not only do they rape and torture them, they leave them in cages and they electrocute them, and they
see, this is
literally eat them and drink their blood. I mean, I'm sorry to say so, but that's what happens.
So the thing is, when people complain about the situation they're in, I want you to imagine a child being in a cold area with no heat or anything like in the conditions, and not having clean clothes or be able to eat. They don't eat what you think they eat. And all they have is that voice to pray to God, please save us. Because we feel that they felt that no one was coming. No one was coming to save them. And I think that alone, as being creator God, to hear those many voices and saying, you're our only hope. Because the humans are not listening. And they're not hearing our voice, and they don't want to see it. So being a person in remote viewing and I have to work on this stuff all the time, I can't get past that sometimes. I can't get past that if we don't save our kids, there's nothing to save anymore. And so to be in a cage and losing hope and
getting zapped every now and then.
Yeah. that happens too. But
I'm sorry.
it's a bad deal. But the thing is, I want you to look at it in a spiritual way. Every child, because it has that God frequency inside us, there's still that prayer that was there, that hope of that they would come and rescue them. And then to see these heroes of the military actually coming in and doing that, to them, those are angels. To them, when they got picked up or carried away, they didn't understand compassion. They didn't understand love or any of that because they never got it from the existence that they were around, because they've been abused so much. So those military people that have done this and worked in the underground systems and saved them, in some way, I don't think they know, God used them as their vessel and answered those prayers. And those angels showed up to save them. That's what happened. That's what happened. So their angels weren't wearing white. They were wearing green. They were wearing hard hats. They were tired. They were exhausted. But they didn't give up. They worked day. They worked night. And then they broke down to be the first ones to handle that, to see it on the scenes and know that that's not what we were taught in America, to see children go through this. But we are. So they're angels because God sent them. So, yeah.
People need to stand up and speak out and help whenever they can, in whatever way they can, and wake up whoever they can. If any people are still able to wake up at this point in time, it really does make you wonder.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. When you, at the end of this, when you realize who was actually involved and who they are, I mean, those people that worked down in the ground and did this, those are the ones that need to be honored in many ways. Because there's a lot that you have to put yourself in a different concept to get around that and know that you're desperate to save them. But you have to strategize and do the right thing. Because this is to take that chance. Is how many can you save today? Can we save 5,000? Can we save 10,000? Or we will get our hands on these kids and get them out of here. I'm just saying, it's important, you know. So I believe that there's going to be a celebration upon Earth. And I just, for a reason, I don't know why, the Spirit keeps telling me it's Texas over and over, that where this is going to happen. And this is the thing. Because starting a new leaf, starting a new life, starting a new world, it's about humanity saving each other and dismantling the evil across the board.
Yeah. This is another way. They just aren't there. Nothing in their eyes. They're like zombies.
Yeah. So the thing is, I mean, when you look to the end of this, yeah, it is the president. It is the generals. But it's the ground crew that had to do the toughest job. That's the toughest job ever.
Well, there are people out there now talking about saying that the change is going to take years and everything's going to happen real slow.
No, that's a 3D concept. No.
Okay. I just wanted you to address that.
Yeah, no.
No, it's going to happen fast, and it's not going to be that far away. Somebody was, where did it go? They're wondering why Trump didn't say anything about Nasara,
Because
or
he said the golden age, and you got to put that as all together. The individual words of identification, it's the golden age when it brings all together.
yeah, and he was talking about people having the best life ever, and all kinds of good things. Right. So I'm not sure why. There's probably a reason why he didn't say anything specific that way.
Right.
But if you look at what Nasara says, much of that is being done right now already.
Right. Right.
So
it's in the background and it's already implemented. And I got to tell you, I want you to understand the line on this. To the great vessel that works within Elon Musk and what it's bringing and what it's opening and what it's starting and what he's doing, and having that personality has is, he needs to be recognized of what he's doing. So it's, you have to recognize that.
Okay, let's see. Yeah, Putin is a good guy. Somebody put that. Yes, the current Putin is a good guy.
Yeah.
Putin 2.0.
Yeah.
We don't know how many 2.0s we have either.
Right?
I think I heard somewhere that the last time there was a good human was JFK, and there hasn't been very few, if any, since then. So I don't know if we.
They're here. They're watching. They're witnessing. It's been hard.
Yeah, Teresa's saying many councils of light are running this show.
Yes, they are. So yeah, I mean, that's where we're at on many things. So
yeah. Well, so many of these government leaders were so horrific. I mean, if you think about it, how many of them agreed to take down their population? In other words, kill their population.
Because their bank accounts got full. They don't care.
Exactly. Let's see. Somebody, I have to laugh at this because it reminds me, Paula saying, yes, Gail, and try to wear cotton clothes, especially undergarments, because when the EMF happens, everything will pixelate and anything not real will not be there. So you could very well be naked during that little period of time. So.
Right.
Wow. Okay. Let me see where we are. I think there's so many comments. I'll up with them all. 1 or 2. The other thing that I know that people that were hoping for Trump to talk about was the constitutional republic.
Well, I'm sure he's played that, what he was going to say, a long time, and there are certain things, and he really wanted to give it to the Democrats, and they needed it given. I'm sure there's going to be another speech in a different form. I mean, that was a long 2-hour process on things, and I mean, there's more to come in layers.
Yeah, I didn't see the entire thing because I always get interrupted most of the time. So anyway, here's a question. When can we expect the Doge deposits? As you said, they would most likely be coming in
Yeah, I
this
think
week.
it's just around the corner. I don't feel that they're going to sit on that, guys. I just keep looking at it. It's not a long, prolonged situation.
People can do more when they have, because of the way it is in 3D, people can do more if they have some funds to work with. You can't do anything when you don't.
Well, they can have some funds and then settle down for 3 days and go into darkness for 3 days and not worry about your bills. That's just what I say. So yeah, I mean it's a process of getting through that. But yeah.
Somebody is asking you to please discuss ascension status.
Where we're at. Well, we're not in the 3D, and I don't believe we're in 4D. I think we're in like a 4.5 process right now, and that's why it feels like everything's not real. It feels kind of a numb situation, and we're going through these Schumann resonance, frequencies, plasma, all this stuff, and everything has to come online on the process. That's what I feel that's going on. You're asking yourself every day because it's not the same energy every day. It's changing. Uh, I sleep is a different pattern. Uh, the tiredness of the body is not the same way anymore. I mean, we're already going through a process all through this. Uh, what you're seeing visually in front of you, was not taught in 3D of seeing lights and sparks and this motion of it's called more of a movement that goes through your mind and then you feel it through your body for a second or two and the whole it feels when you're standing up and it feels like a wave that you're moving. I mean, there's so many processes you're going through in this upgrade process right now. And then the hearing sounds are different that we're going through too.
Here's a good question. Janet McCain is asking, can they be humiliated?
I don't think so because it's not in a concept for them like that. A demon plays a game and it looks for the escape process. And that's what they were doing. They didn't say anything because they have no escape process and they couldn't debate. The demon likes to debate, go back. That's what they do. And they couldn't do anything. So
Here's a
alone, being isolated, is told to sit down and shut up, and you're required. It's a lot for them. And then this is even the thing: the final exposure when they show how much money these people have got in their bank accounts, because I'm pretty sure they're seized by now, and all that stuff. That it's okay if we talk about it if it's you or you, but you bring that light to me, I'm going to shut you down. Democrat attitude, and not talk about it. Um, it's a dismantling. They'll shut down. That's all they're going to do. They don't care.
Someone, would you like to address this one? Greeting, guys. Trump, Obama, Biden are all Luciferians, are they not? One and the same?
Trump is not. And that's from the other side.
Yes.
So they're always thinking vessels are the same vessel that you think in the 3D, and they're not.
What do you see for sanctuary cities in every state in the U.S.?
Ha! My favorite!
They're in big trouble.
To isolate the cities. Put them in a herding sheep area. And I mean white tents, white buildings, trying to filter them out, and they're not going to be able to leave or exit the cities. because I said this was going to happen, and I have that drawing up where it has the helicopter, it has UFOs, they're all in tented areas. You're going to start to see fences up, and I hope Minnesota and Minneapolis is the first one that gets that fence up. So once they start doing that and start isolating these people, and start to, it's like, you want to be a sanction? We'll show you what sanction is. You ain't going nowhere. So it's a filtration process. They have to filter them, and that's the best way. And I've said this for 3 years now about this being a filter process. So the sanctioned cities are just these gateways to decide what they're going to do with them all.
I like what Jeff has to say here. If it's God's timing, we are God. It's time.
Yeah, it is.
It is time. Let's roll.
Yeah. Exactly. So it's good.
Okay, let's see. Yeah, let's never forget it's all about the children.
Right? It is. Bottom line. And you'll see that at the end. So,
and when you find out what they've done to them, it's just going to break your heart. Nobody wants to talk about it, but it's true.
They don't.
And it's
awful. That's where I think at that point I'm hoping families, foster families, to what they can do to get them back in society and get them through the beds when they come out, so they could function, and definitely believe that all that memory needs to be erased. I mean, I don't think any of that is a good process to remember. So,
yeah.
If there is anything that makes my soul so deeply sad and so confused by, is the sacrifice of the innocents. I am complex with that daily, of that being a choice as long as it's been a choice. And that makes me hard. It makes me hard to be around humans in the way of the ones that deny it, and thinking after this that everything's going to be okay. And I would think at that time, with everything, I'm probably going to want to be in nature more than I will anything else.
Same here.
So yeah.
Well, I believe this is true. Carrie Cassidy says reptilians fly kids off world as food. It's part of the government deal for technology.
No. She's had too much drinks. No. Fly kids off food. It's part of the government deal. No. That's not happening anymore. First of all, I'd like to know how they're getting in and off, because there's only a couple of places you can get off this earth and go in. So, just saying.
Okay.
So I got a couple more minutes, and then I think.
Yeah, we've only got a few minutes left.
Yeah, so you want
to
do the bell too for the kids.
You want to do that now?
Well, yeah, okay. It's part of what we want to do. I mean, you want to look at one more, it's fine.
Oh, I don't know where to start. There's so many of them I haven't even seen. This moves so quickly, it's hard to.
Yeah.
Here's a question, an honest question, because people, they know this has happened to children. How does the everyday person save them? How do we rescue them?
This is the thing. You have to start talking about this, and you have to get a collective of people to start to recognize this and start to look at this and start to show people that it's there. They're not, no one's doing anything, so no one's talking about it, so no one's bringing it up, so no one's bringing the subjects. No YouTube or anybody is talking about it. It has to be in her face. As much as Trump is. It has to be that level of bringing it up and talking about it. And you could start with the bells. That's just a symbol. Bell, 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 bells. Because it's a symbol to save the children. A symbol to ring them in. A symbol to honor them. So the conversations have to be created more. Talked about. It has to. They're not talking about it because it'll make them feel guilty. And I'm talking about the ones they're in denial of it. So that's why it's a hard subject. Everybody wants, the ones that are awake, they do want to talk about it. They do want to bring it up, but they're going to have to fight through that veil a little stronger to keep it in their face.
Okay. And I'd just like to mention that, Jennifer, my heart goes out to you for what you've been through. Okay. Let me take that down. And it is about time for us to end the show.
The bell.
So we're going to end it ringing the bell for 30 seconds?
Yeah.
This is for the children. All right.
Well, everybody knows how to get a hold of me. I have to go wipe my face and
Yeah, your information is in the it's in the description. So how to get a hold of you and so on.
Yeah. So this is a touchy subject that needs to be talked about, but we, to start the subject. But yeah, I mean, it's whether bells or songs. Yes, that's what they need to do, and yeah, it's very, very important. And then if you see a soldier, if they're, you can tell that they're around, and just tell them we're ringing the bells for the kids, and just that honors them too, because they know that it's about the kids. So that's what it's about. So
okay, any final words?
Well, I mean, this week we need to keep an eye on everything, so it's not going the way we all want, but it's going. This isn't the Biden play show anymore. They're out to determine to take everything down, working 24/7. So they are doing that. So
stay anchored in your inner light.
Yes.
That's your eternal light. Stay anchored in it. And ground daily if you can. And one of the best ways to do that is to go out into nature and connect with nature. And that grounding is really important. It does a great deal for me. It helps a lot.
Exactly. So you guys, good night.
Alrighty then.
Stay in the light. Take care.
Take care. Truth and love to you all.
We have found our way. It's a brand new day, and we'll be making history. Are you with me? Won't you stay? We have come so far. This is who we are. And like the rising sun, we have just begun to play our part. time we formed the chorus, left your voice for those before us. We can rely on one another, feel the pride, let's show our colors. We are heroes and dreamers, we are restless believers, stronger than ever, never say never. Don't look back now, don't look back now. Rise up, stand with each other. We are sisters and brothers, fighting our place and running the race. We'll take our chance and seize the moment. Hold on tight and don't let go of all your hopes and dreams that light the way. We control our fate, destiny awaits. We are all the actors in the stories we create. Hope will be our guide, we'll no longer hide. When we roll like thunder, feel the wonder from inside. This is the time we form the chorus, left your voice for those behind.